Hi everybody, this is current events for Tuesday, November 17th and Thursday, November 19th, 2020. We're going to start out with the Driftless Journal here from Tuesday, November 17th, and the front page is Area Youth's Fire Kit Keeps Campfires Burning. This is a picture of the area youth. And that is young entrepreneur Adelia Gross of Spring Grove is the founder of Dale's Campfire Starters. Okay, not many preteens have businesses on the brain, but Adelia or Dale Gross, an 11-year-old from Spring Grove, Minnesota, spent her summer developing and marketing a successful product. She made and sold fire starting kits at her local farmer's market, and she has sold a lot of them. They're made out of egg cartons that contain some newspaper, lint, and wax in each slot. People can use these to get their fire going sooner. You take one and put it into the fire pit and start it with a match. You let it burn long enough that it goes onto the wood in there with it. This entrepreneur knows her product. The fire starters by themselves can go 13 to 14 minutes without wood. The shortest I've ever seen a fire starter burn by itself was 10 minutes. The bubbly business person said she got the idea from her grandpa's sister, who talked about making fire starters on a family camping trip. After that outing, Gross was chatting with a friend who works at the local farmer's market. She said I needed to find something to do for the market. That's when I remembered the fire starters and decided to jump into business. All right. I sold 31 dozen of these things in about 3 weeks. I have been at the Spring Grove Farmers Market every Wednesday. That's great. She is going to go far in life. She's already an entrepreneur. All right. Also on the front page, Centuries-old tree highlights history of giving. The unique burl that led Shuros to call this bur oak the buffalo tree. This is the buffalo tree. And there is the burr. Let's find out more. Well over 2 centuries ago, an acorn was sprouting in the dirt of what would much later become Winneshiek County. When roots sprang from that acorn, Sac Fox Indians roamed their native grounds, and Iowa was decades away from statehood. The acorn knew nothing of this, of course. It simply did what seedlings do, laid down roots, grabbed nutrients from the soil, and tried to break free from the dirt to strive for sunlight. That oak seedling not only defied the odds, but succeeded, growing into a sprawling bur oak that enjoyed a long and successful life. And eventually, the ground it grew on was purchased by a couple perfectly suited to honoring its hard-scrabble existence. We bought our property in 1998 and built our cabin here in 1999, said Warren Shuros, who grew up nearby, but only purchased his land near, continued on page 9. Highlandville, after retiring from a successful career as an environmental engineer and consultant. When I was a kid, I couldn't wait to get out here. In my career, I worked for companies across the country and enjoyed it, but as I grew older, I realized how beautiful and amazing this country is. Not long after we bought the farm, my brother Chuck, who owns the property next door, told me about the old bur oak growing on our land. Some called it the buffalo tree, for one of the unique burls that sprouted from its trunk that resembled the head of a buffalo. When I talked to an area forester about the tree, he came to visit and recognized immediately how old it was. He told me, "It's not hard to imagine Indians smoking a pipe under the boughs of that tree." DNR forester Greg Heidebrink was the man who uttered those words. "It's definitely a cool old tree," Heidebrink said, noting the buffalo tree was a bur oak, a tree within the white oak family. Wouldn't it be cool if trees like that could talk and tell us what they've seen? Heidebrink said bur oaks and other members of the oak family are common in the upper Midwest because the bark of a mature tree is thick and often fire resistant. Burls like those that are formed the buffalo head on Shuros' tree are caused when the tree suffers a wound but grows back around the site as it heals. Shuros made a point to visit the tree as he toured his farm each year, and this spring he became concerned when he did not see buds forming. By the time other trees were leafing out, he recalled, and late spring trees there were still no buds or leaves. It was clear the tree had died. Trees die on an annual basis across the region, of course, but they are not huge old oaks growing on the Shuros property. In addition to his many other hobbies, Shuros is a master woodworker who makes furniture and wall art from unique woods that most people would relegate to the fireplace. I was determined to not just let it fall apart and rot if possible, he said, but the tree is so large, getting someone to take it down was a challenge. One logger didn't want to touch it when we found it was hollow at the base. Another simply didn't have the equipment large enough to handle it. Finally, Cody Kleppe of Kleppe's Custom Logging of Mabel visited and examined the tree and agreed to take it down and haul it out. Assuming the timber harvest goes well, Shuros will be happily busy for a long time. Burls and slabs and even the bark can be turned into something beautiful. I just want to honor the tree if I can. That's really cool. All right, going on to the next page. Waukon's Osterholm is named to Joe Biden's COVID-19 board. Dr. Michael Osterholm, a Waukon native and Luther College graduate, has been named to President-elect Joe Biden's 13-member COVID-19 advisory board. That's great news. Let's see. Luther College has announced a temporary period of online learning. That's probably a good thing, but not very fun if you go to Luther. There's an article that says shopping local has never been more important, and we agree with that. Let's see. A lot of ads. So the Test Iowa service that was here over at the hospital has relocated to Steve's Car Care in Decorah for the winter. Let's see. St. Benedict's School is presenting Magical Lamp of Aladdin to be recorded. The Minnesota Marine Art Museum has upcoming exhibitions in Winona. And there's a recipe for mushroom and mascarpone pasta skillet. Sounds good. But we probably won't make that today. Let's see. There are no obituaries for anyone from Asahaugen, which is good. Okay, we're moving on to Echoes of the Past. Cresco Paving Crew. We've got a very old photo. Look at all those guys with wheelbarrows and whatnot. And it says, Craig Haugen of Lowman, Missouri shared this picture of a 1919 paving crew in the town of Cresco. He writes, my grandfather, Christian Haugen, is standing closest to the horse's neck. The paving company was Fred Carlson of Decorah. The town of Cresco awarded this contract on April 30th, 1919, and the work was to start 2 to 3 weeks after that. The price was $2.32 per square yard and 32 cents per square foot for the curbing, which is 44 cents per linear foot. The machine is a Koning Machine Company paver. The company was founded in 1907 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and is credited with developing the first dry batch concrete paver. In 1921, it produced the first cable excavator. The company went on to produce a wide range of wheel and ladder trenchers. Note, it appears they were using 20-foot sections of steel well pipe to screed the concrete. I don't even know what that means. If you know what screeding concrete means, please find me. Okay. Ladies give dimes to the restroom. What? 100 years ago, a group of ladies who reside near Locust were accustomed to meeting for Red Cross work during the war, and since they have met as a social gathering serving refreshments for which a charge of 10 cents is made. The ladies had a happy thought to use the money thus collected to purchase some much-needed conveniences for their restroom in Decorah. Their final choice was a bubbler, nowadays called a drinking fountain. After consulting with Civic Club president, the bubbler was installed on the ledge at the right entrance where it will be convenient for children and grown-ups. The bubbler is of the latest approved sanitary type. All right. Girl Scout Week was observed here recently, and this wonderful organization has done marvels to lift the young folks to nobler goals. A good Girl Scout becomes a friend to everybody. She is courteous, she is high-minded, she's a friend to animals, she obeys others, she's cheerful, she's thrifty, she wastes neither food or money nor time. The girls practice useful and womanly arts. The girls should be applauded for doing these kinds of things and not chasing after the boys. Well, okay then. Moving right along, the Democratic County Central Committee paid $700 in expenses in the campaign that just closed here. The campaign postage bill alone was more than $100. The Anti-Saloon League here is meeting at the Methodist Church. Victory medals were presented last Thursday to soldiers, sailors, and the Marines of the Great War. The audience stood at the Grand Opera House for a moment of silent meditation during the program. The Grand Opera House Orchestra, directed by B.O. Marsh, played Stars and Stripes Forever. Mr. and Mrs. Connors, who recently returned as missionaries from Africa, gave a good talk at the Friends Mission in Hesper last week. They sang 2 hymns in the African language. I wonder which African language that was. From the society pages of 1920, the marriage of Miss Margaret Haying and Mr. Felix Muller was celebrated last Monday at St. Mary's Church, Festina. The worthy young couple is well and favorably known in the area. That's a good thing. 1930, 90 years ago, the J.C. Penney Company store of this city displayed the most appealing and attractive Armistice Day window in the big center showroom of the store last week, vividly reminding all of the great day 12 years ago when World War I ended and the armistice was signed. Well, I guess they didn't call it World War I then, did they? They just called it the World War. Manager German and his able assistants are to be congratulated. MJ Sukup, the Victor radio dealer here, is demonstrating the latest development in sound. A new machine makes records right in the home. Merely speak into a transmitter while the machine is running and your voice is recorded onto a record. Then play the record over again and your voice can be reproduced. A local man committed suicide early last Friday morning in the living room at the Elks home here. What? His lifeless body, still warm, was found by the janitor. That is not good. He had filled the room with gas from the fireplace. Despondency is believed to have been the cause of his act. He was out of money and owed numerous bills about town. Only 25 cents was found in his pockets. That is a sad, sad story. All right. Chevrolet's new cars for 1931 are priced substantially below current levels and are displayed at Reed and Lennon's in Decorah. The new cars boast a 2-inch increase in wheelbase, larger and roomier bodies, and scores of refinements in appearance. The new cars range in price from $650 to $475. Jim Headington from Burr Oak met with quite a serious accident last Tuesday night when the horse he was riding stumbled and fell. He was thrown several feet, striking his head and dislocating a vertebra in the back of his neck. He's getting along well. All right. Luther College will play Columbia on Thanksgiving Day at the Luther Gridiron in Decorah at 2 p.m. Admission is $1. That's pretty cheap. Okay, we're going to go on to the public opinion. And on the public opinion cover, we have Decorah Greenhouses Incorporated still blooming after 144 years. Here's the photo. That's just near here. Established in 1876. Step inside one of Decorah's most historic landmark businesses and you will find a little bit of everything when it comes to flowers, gardening, landscaping, and gift giving. On April 7th, April 7th, 1876, William and Anna Simmons made their first down payment on a parcel of land where Decorah Greenhouses stands today at 701 Mound Street. The business has gone through a few owners since the early days. The most recent owners were Jim and Linda Lukes of Decorah have decided to sell the business after having owned it for nearly 2 decades. Dion Sawyer and her husband Isaac Packnett purchased the 144-year-old business earlier this month and recently moved to Decorah from Indiana. That's great. I'm glad they're still in business. Luther College is reducing its full-time positions and programs because of decreased enrollment. The governor issues a new mask mandate with more limits. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds announced new coronavirus mitigation efforts to fight the virus in her primetime statewide address on Monday night. Okay. I think we can all agree a mask mandate would be a good thing so we could be done with this virus. Okay. Because the county COVID-19 count continues to rise. This is on page 2. Wenatchee County Public Health Director Krista Vandenbrink reported 98 county COVID-19 cases in the past 7 days. Wellington Place has experienced 10 new active cases. Cases exist among both staff and residents, and they have a good setup for isolation. That's good. Let's see. The Vesterheim has temporarily closed its campus to the public because of the virus, which is unfortunate because there's a new exhibition about Nordic cuisine that I don't know how that's going to work, but they can probably just hold it until we can come back. Locust Road project is on the home stretch. They've been at it for a while, folks. The Locust Road Improvement Project is on the home stretch. That was the report from City Engineer Jeremy Brill at Monday's meeting of the Decorah City Council. He stated that the Pinecrest intersection will open at some point this week. All the pavement is complete with the exception of a few driveway approaches and sidewalks. Yet to be completed are pavement markings, sign installation, backfilling, street lights, and utilities, as well as getting into the joint utility trench. Weather depending, I'm hopeful that in the next couple weeks we'll all get to drive on Locust Road. Wouldn't that be nice, just in time for the bad weather? The Decorah Farmers Market is now being held indoors at the Dan & Lansing building, and here are some folks at the Farmers Market, which looks pretty much like a pie market if you look at this photo. But there's always still something. Blake Courtney has been awarded the FFA degree, and here's a picture of Blake. He graduated from Decorah High School, I believe, in 2018. And let's see. He says, I am honored to be part of such a unique group of individuals who have been able to complete the requirements for the American FFA degree. It's been a goal of mine since starting the FFA to achieve this status. I believe this says wonderful things about the program we have built at Decorah and the resources we have available to us in the Northeast District and state of Iowa, which is true. Okay. We move on to the religion section from Pastor Don Holmertz at Decorah Covenant Church. And he says, as I write this, the news is breaking that Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine has proven to be 94.5% effective. This follows news last week of Pfizer having a candidate that's over 90% effective. Stocks are up, attitudes are up, but other numbers are also up. Positivity rates, hospitalizations, and deaths. Officials, for the most part, are continuing to implore us to practice social distancing, mask wearing, and other safety protocols. This situation reminds me of the early church in Thessalonica. Based on the Apostle Paul's letters to them, we think that they were convinced that the second coming of Christ was imminent. Apparently, many of them quit their jobs, sold their homes, abandoned their families in order to wait for Jesus' return. This was not the usual pattern for these folks. In 1 Thessalonians especially, Paul falls all over himself, giving thanks to God for the faithfulness and fruitfulness of the Thessalonian believers. In fact, these letters are a great reminder of what thankful spirit looks like. But as the old saying goes, first you get good, then you get sloppy. Their hard work had developed into idleness. Since the reign of Jesus would deliver believers from this unjust world and into heavenly mansions, why work hard now? Apparently, this meant that some of them became, as the old saying goes, so heavenly minded they are of no earthly good. History is full of stories, some quite bizarre, of the cults and sects that were so convinced of the closeness of the apocalypse that they literally gave up everything to go and live on a mountaintop and wait to be plucked into heaven. On the other hand, you have to admire their faith. Christians are right to preach and practice a lifestyle that trusts in the victory of Christ on the cross over sin and death. We have a loose grip on this world, fueled by a confident expectation of a restored and renewed creation someday, but the apostles saw that their lifestyle was an unhealthy distortion of this truth and offered this admonition to stay engaged, stay vigilant, stay connected. It's awfully relevant. But we appeal to you, brothers and sisters, to respect those who labor among you and have charge of you in the Lord and admonish you. Esteem them very highly in love because of their work. Be at peace among yourselves. And we urge you, beloved, to admonish the idlers, encourage the faint-hearted, help the weak, be patient with all of them. See that none of you repays evil for evil, but always seek to do good to one another and to all. Rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Jesus Christ for you. Do not quench the spirit, do not despise the words of prophets, but test everything. Hold fast to what is good, abstain from every form of evil. May the God of peace himself sanctify you entirely, and may your spirit and soul and body be kept sound and blameless at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. The one who calls you is faithful, and he will do this. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 12 to 24. Yes, friends, we have probably seen the light at the end of the tunnel, but there is much darkness yet to get through, and it requires all of us to be faithful and helpful, and don't forget thankful. All right, there's a picture of Pastor Don Holmertz from the Decorah Covenant Church. All right, what else do we have here? The Decorah Bank and Trust supports the Decorah drone purchase. So the Decorah Bank and Trust has given $5,000 to the Decorah Volunteer Fire Department to purchase a drone to help with rescues and fires. That's pretty awesome. There are a lot of obituaries, but none for anyone from here. So that's good. Health and fitness. Let's see. That's basically an ad. So we're going to go for this. Luther College celebrates new solar panel array. The project supports the college's goal of becoming carbon neutral by 2030. On November 3rd, Luther College hosted a private and socially distanced ribbon-cutting ceremony to unveil a new solar panel array that is projected to produce around 10% of the school's annual electricity consumption. Nationally recognized as one of the top 10 colleges for campus sustainability, Luther is committed to the goal of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 70% and becoming carbon neutral by 2030. That's amazing. Here is a picture of the ribbon cutting and the solar panels. Ribbon cutting. Can you see that? Solar panels. All right. Good on them. I think that's going to be it for current events this week. We'll see you again next Friday for current events. I don't know when the papers are published, though, because I doubt the public opinion will come out on a Thursday. But we'll find out next week, and we'll get it recorded for you. Have a great evening. Thank you.